to Green Flag Racing, and Roberto Moreno pulled into pit lane. He was the race leader, but he pulled in just as we go back to Green Flag, so he surrenders the race lead as we are working lap number 34. And that is Will Power going back to the race lead. So Power in a very familiar position out in front of the field with 58 minutes remaining in this race.
Well, with a lap car in the middle right now, that really messed up Alex Tagliani because he wants to not be too far off the back tailgate of Will Power. And this will be the opportunity for him now just to get a draft and make that move.
There is Tagliani, and he's got, I believe that's Montagnier in the position between the two of them. Could be a lap vehicle. We'll check on that. It is the 9-car Pizzonia. Yes, and he is a lap down, so we had the wrong number. Sorry for that. But meanwhile, so Pizzonia is a lap down in the blue car. He is sandwiched between Will Power, our race leader. Alex Tagliani is in second. Montagnier is in third, and the 7 car. And then Graham Rahal is in fourth.
Now, what Antonio is trying to do is to actually make a pass and get past Will Power, be in front of him so he can be on the tail end of the lead lap. And you can see Alex Tagliani trying to make that move all the time. And
whoa, Pereira goes under Dominguez and makes it stick. Nice pass by Frank Pereira. Remember, he came to Homestead. The first race of the season was lost on the oval, but he's showing some stuff here on the street course, Jack.
Guys, one of the things the crew's been talking to Frank about is the way he restarts on the restarts. They wanted him to get a little bit quicker. They liked that restart. Thus far, he said he felt as if the car was where it wanted to be, but they are in fuel conservation mode as well. It's a little bit different when you start to realize that the only thing they can do to conserve fuel when they don't have a fuel adjustment on this Cosworth power plant is what the driver can do with his right foot and with his paddle shifter.
That's exactly right, Jack. Another difference between the Champ Car and IndyCar Series. Over in the IndyCar side, several settings for fuel. Here, as Jack pointed out, just your right foot.
And that's exactly true, and that's why drivers really have to be conservative. And the nice thing about here,
the push to pass if you have to.
Saying the push to pass if you have to, and wondering if that might be a message going to Alex Tagliani so he can pass the lap vehicle. And yes, indeed, and he gets it done.
And take a look there as there is the 36. That's Enrique Bernoldi getting around. He gets around Dominguez.
For you.
And that's Pizzonia's radio. They were trying to get his lap back for him, and it went the other direction.
Well, I think what happened is that Alex Tagliani had the same idea, and he probably ended up pushing the button just a little sooner to make that drive down into turn 1.
So first and second are now pulling away as it is Will Power in front of Alex Tagliani. And then it's another second back to Montagnier in third. You're asking us what's happened to Paul Tracy. Well, he did get back out before the field came around. He is at the tail end of the lead lap. He is in 16th position. So he's got this a second time. He's going to have to fight his way back through this field. And this is when Paul's fun to watch. Brienne?
Marty, the reason for all that trouble for Paul Tracy is exactly what you thought it is. It is the CV joint, the outboard left CV joint to be specific. I spoke to Ken Seawick, his race strategist. He said they put a clip on the joint, but they're not sure that they got it in all the way. But they did add some grease to hopefully alleviate more of the problems. But he's back out there. This team is fighting.
Well, I'll tell you what, it'd be amazing if that thing holds together because the streets are so rough. They're hard on CV joints.
Well, and usually what ends up happening is there's a lot of sensors as we see Will Power slide that car through the turn. But there's a lot of sensors on these cars that pass along the information through telemetry back to the engineers, and they can see if something's starting to heat up. And I imagine that's what they're doing back in pit lane right now, is starting to notice that the heat was starting to get high. So they turn around, put a little grease into it. There's a rubber boot that's on top of it that holds the grease in. And if that boot is broken or the clip is off of it, maybe that's why the grease is leaking out.
Now, the thing I've noticed as we watch these guys working the cars, remember, they went to the blacks, both first and second place. we didn't see Will Power sliding nearly as much on the softer compound reds as he is on the black. So obviously it gives the viewer at home a great idea of the difference between these two tires.
Well, he's sliding around a little bit more, and they're also running just a little bit slower because it's taken him till that lap there to finally find into the 69-second bracket, which is where he was running consistently with the Redwall Bridgestone Potenza tires. So maybe it'll take a few more laps for the temperature and the heat to build up into these tires so he can make those great times that he was doing before.
That's Jimmy Vasser going underneath Bruno Junqueira. So the old man has still got a little spunk left in him. I hope he doesn't mind me calling him an old man, but he is one of the veterans of this field.
Well, when most of the drivers are in their 20s or early 30s, when you get to be in your late 30s or in your 40s, like some of these guys are, then you are right to call them an old man.
Oh, he's 42 years old, and by any stretch in open wheel racing, that is on the older side. And we had a chance to talk to Jimmy about the significance of the reunification.
A lot of Champ Car still lives, you know, in the new IndyCar, or not the new. I guess it is the new. Yeah. You know, it still lives, and I think over the next few years, when you've seen the schedules evolve in 09 and potential chassis engine combinations come down the pike, you know, I think that and I hope that that the IRL, you know, takes what was good, some of the good about what Champ Car had, and incorporates that into the future IndyCar.
And for Jimmy Vasser, they've gone to the old school to get Jimmy someone to be his tactician. Up in the scoring box for Jimmy Vasser today is Tom Anderson. Anderson, of course, one of the early car owners in IndyCar competition, one of the first Champ Car teams to go over to IndyCar. Tom has been asked by his friend Jimmy Vasser to come over here and call the shots today. Remember, this is a one-off team for the Get Off the Couch tour for Vasser. I asked Jimmy how much work did he do to get ready to get back in the cockpit. He says, well, I started working out about 9-10 days ago. I looked at him and I thought, maybe that's the key to being a good race car driver. Don't press yourself too much too soon.
Thanks, Jack. You know, while you were talking, there was a pass behind Vasser, and that was the 37 of David Martinez getting around Junqueira. And there he is right there, so we ought to give him a tip of the hat because that was a very nice move.
Well, you know, it's interesting when Vasser was talking about things that are in this series that he would like to see over in IRL. Whoa!
Oh! And a mistake there is going to cost him a couple of spots.
Well, just no drive coming out of the turn, so you wonder if it's maybe something to do with the gearbox or possibly power, but he's back up to speed now. But I know a lot of people around here just love the sound of the turbo engine with this Cosworth engine. They love the power to pass button, which gives you options. And a lot of drivers also love the option tires that make the car handle a little bit different and give you a different strategy, more options to pass here when you have those different tools in your toolbox, Marty, to set your car up.
And we mentioned that this is Jimmy's 16th year. Let's take you back to the year that he loves the best. How about 1996? He was running for Chip Ganassi's team at that time, and Chip was happy. And why not? Because they just won the race. Some of the history here at Long Beach. Boy, and talk about history. We've had a lot this weekend. Danica Patrick's win yesterday, and who's going to win today?